What's good, everybody? This is Ryan Johnson with MoneyBass.com. All right, guys, back for another one, another Tuesday night. Just going to have a little fun with it as always. And as you come into the live stream, please drop a 1 in the chat. If you can hear me okay, I just want to make sure everything looks good, sound quality and everything is coming through. And, as always, we'll give a few shout outs before we get into it. Just give you guys a little bit of time to kind of stroll into the live stream. And as you know, tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about, maybe we'll go over that active target too, just a little bit, just kind of rehash that a little bit. And also just kind of, get your thoughts on the whole thing. I mean, is this really phishing? That is the kind of the debate that was going back and forth last time, and just wanted to get a little input from you guys and see how everyone is doing. So let's see. We have a few guys that are stepping into the live stream. We have somebody there here that was a little early today. I think I was just a few minutes late, but we want to give a shout out to, let's see, that is Michael checking in, always active in the comments. Really appreciate you coming into the live stream. Let's see what you have to say. I have Livescope and Mega 360. I've had this technology for a while. Yeah, I mean, I've seen you in the comments, so you seem like you know your thing whenever it comes to these electronics. All right, and then we have Jason Hayes. What is going on? Glad to have you stepping into the live stream. And guys, look who we have. We have a member of the money team. All right, really appreciate you, Paul Gavinsky, checking into the live stream. And guys, if anybody is interested in becoming a member of the channel and joining the money team, make sure you click the link down below. That is the join button, and that will just give you some information on how to become a member of the money team and support the channel. So that is very, very much appreciated. Really appreciate you stopping in, Paul. All right, and also I know you were out at the lake just recently, so drop in there. Let me know how you did out there. I think you were at Lake Harding, I believe. Yeah, so just drop a comment or two. And guys, look who else we have. Yeah, man, we have Josh checking in. Josh checking in tonight. So yeah, we were out there on the lake this weekend. Yeah, Josh had, he was out there showing off a little bit. He was bringing those 3s and 4s. He was bringing some 3s and 4s into the boat. Yeah, and this was with no electronics, guys. So, hey, I mean, he knows his things with those electronics, but, I mean, he proved his point. I mean, you can get out there and do it without them, too. And we also have, checking into the live stream, one of the biggest supporters of the channel, guys. We have Maggie, the substitute teacher. So shout out to you and all that you do. All right, really, really appreciate that. Make sure you guys go and check out Maggie's channel. She has a cooking channel where she basically substitutes healthy choices within the foods that you're cooking, so you can still eat your favorite meals, favorite dishes, but she just substitutes the I would say the unhealthy ingredients with things that are a little bit more healthy. So make sure you check out her channel. And Maggie, really, really appreciate the continued support of the channel. All right, and we also have Academic Mailbox hitting me with the 1. Let me know everything is looking good, sounding good. And let's see, Paul Gavinsky says, there we go. Finally got the volume squared away. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got everything looking good, sounding good. Really appreciate it. All right, and let's see. Josh says we put the biggins in the boat. He's being kind of modest with that. He put the biggins in the boat this weekend, but it was all good. Really enjoyed the day out there on the water and the conversation. Always a good time out there. All right, guys. So just wanted to give a few more guys, some time to get in here. And also, we are live streaming on Facebook. So anybody that is out there watching on Facebook, welcome. Really appreciate you joining into the show too. I don't think I'll be able to see any of the comments or anything that are on the Facebook stream. But hey, as always, let's just all get in here, get active, and have a good time with it. And let's see, what else did I want to get into before we get started? Also, guys, tomorrow we will be doing a live stream. We have hit the 5,000 sub landmark. Yeah. We hit 5,000 subs, guys. So just want to kind of have a celebration tomorrow. So just kind of go over some things that I have achieved within my time being on YouTube and also in fishing. So just give you guys a little bit more of a background on me and things like that. So we'll kind of get into that tomorrow. And if you have a topic that you want to touch on tomorrow, please make sure you guys drop that in the comments or hit me up on Instagram. And I'll see what I can do to squeeze that in. But tomorrow, just want to get together, have a good time, and just kind of have a celebration, guys. This is pretty much the end of the year, end of the season. Everybody, I think, should be finished with their tournament season this year. So if you want to jump in, chime in, come up on the screen, let me know how you guys did out there with this tournament season. Also, we can talk about that. And my schedule for next year is out, so I'll talk about that a little bit too, and kind of give you guys some ideas of what my plans are for next year. All right. And also want to give a shout out to Eli, one of my subscribers. He was out there at the boat ramp yesterday. He was out there with his family. Looks like they were heading out, doing a little bit of fishing. And yeah, he was saying that it was tough. And yeah, things are a little slow now. But just wanted to give you a shout out. Always great to meet my subscribers and viewers out there on the water, and also met a guy named Scott out there at the boat dock itself. So I just wanted to give those two guys a shout out. And also the other thing, guys, merch. My merch is now ready. So just take a look down there, click on that, check out the merch for me, guys, and just drop some comments. Let me know what you think. Do you think it looks good? Do you want some other items in there? Just let me know what you think, because some of you guys were asking about the hats and the hoodies, things like that. So I do have that stuff available now. And let's see what else we have, guys. Let's see what else we have. All right, so looks like we have a few guys that have checked into the live stream. And for anybody that is watching this on the restream, make sure you get active down in the comment section. I do always go back and respond to all of my comments, guys. So anybody that's dropped a comment in there, as you've seen, I take the time to reply back to all of those comments. All right, let's see what else we have in here. So Paul Gavinsky, member of the money team. What is going on? All right, he says, is anyone catching any bass on crawl yet? Let me see. He says, mine was just slow presentation using a shaky head. All right, so let's see what you guys have to say down there. Did anybody go fishing this weekend? Have any tournaments? Just go fun fishing or anything like that? And I can tell you from my point of view, and I guess I have somebody in the comments that can confirm this, but they are eating those crawls. So you can see those crawls are in there. Whenever you pull them in, you can see either that tail or that claw or something like that sitting in there. So yeah, they're on that orange, green pumpkinish color. So that kind of gives you a little tip right there of what you might want to throw. So using some of that JJ's, using what else? Some people use Spike It, but I like JJ's because it has the scent, and you're able to take like a Q-tip and kind of get precise with it. And actually, guys, I'll probably do a video for you to show you how I use JJ's Magic. And basically, if anyone's not familiar with that, that is a dye and a scent that you can put on your baits to kind of get the color that you want. And it also adds kind of like a garlicky scent to it, which, as we all know, does attract fish. So with that, I just kind of take a Q-tip and dip it in there whenever I want to do any type of precise coloration on the baits that I'm using. But like I said, that green pumpkin orange, it's kind of in that area is where those crawfish are sitting at right now, at least the ones that I have seen. All right, and let's see who else we have checking in. We have Academic Mailbox, and he says John Cruz talked soft plastics fishing on Bass U Live today. Pretty interesting. Of interest to East Coast anglers, he talked ahead of Sabine title in Elites. All right, so there we go. So yeah, so that is pretty interesting. Bass University. Yeah, a friend of mine, he is affiliated with Bass University, so he does kind of drop in every once in a while and drop some good information. So he's been up on the screen a few times too, guys. So like I said, I always really appreciate the support of the channel. And look who we have. We have DP stepping in. He says, you seen the new schedule for this year for the rod benders? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I have seen the schedule. So I'm kind of putting together my game plan, to see what I'm going to be getting into this weekend. Well, not this weekend, this year coming up. And for this weekend, there is a tournament out on Lake Sinclair. I'm kind of thinking about fishing it, but I don't know if I'll be able to make it out there or not, guys. But, I'm kind of looking at that. So there's a benefit tournament out on Lake Sinclair this weekend by the Hook Setters, the Hook Setters Bass Club guys. So some of the guys from our club are going to be participating in that, and hopefully I'll be able to get out there too, guys. But yeah, so I did see the tournament schedule for our upcoming year, and actually you should have already got it too. If you didn't, just let me know and I can forward that over to you, DP. All right, and then we have Paul Gavinsky says mine spit up some shad. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they're still on that on that shad pattern, like back in the coves, whenever you find in those a lot of bait fish, bait balls, things like that. And but yeah, they're on the bottom too. They're on the bottom hitting those crawls right now. So if you find like some coves or things like that that you like to target, I would say go ahead and don't be scared to start throwing those jigs and any crawl type baits, creature baits, things like that. All right, Josh says our biggins, yeah, our biggins did have crawls in their throats. That is right. So yeah, there were some big ones out there. Those 3s and 4s did have some crawls in them. All right, and then we have Red Boat. What is going on? What's going on? So yeah, he had a question for me a little earlier. So we'll see if Chicken Hawk is gonna step in this evening. I don't know. He might be a little busy, or he could just be hiding. but yeah. So Red Boat had a question asking, has Chicken Hawk ever actually beat me in a tournament? So I want to see if he'll come up here, because I mean he'd like to answer that question. So so we'll see if he chimes in this evening. All right, Josh says our biggest, let me see, our biggest money and I caught had crawls in their throats. Yep. So that is the truth. So yeah, they're definitely on that crawl bite now. All right, Texas Snoop 2010 checking in. What's going on? Glad to have you into the live stream. And then we have Joseph. All right, glad to have you back. Glad to have you back checking out the live stream. What up, money? We're gonna be lasering fish again tonight. Not the laser lure, man. Not the laser lure. All right. And let's see. So I'll just go ahead and finish up these last few comments, and then we'll go ahead and get into the live stream for this evening. And guys, always make sure you stay active down in the comments. I go through the comments, you know, kind of adds a little spice to it to see what you guys are thinking about the topics, or just, you know, anything, any hot topics or anything that have come up in general. And right now, during our down season, I will still be putting out some fishing tutorials, tips, and I'll go out to the lake and bring some fishing footage back to you guys. And, you know, kind of this, you know, this format right here, this live stream format, looks like you guys have been enjoying that. So we'll keep this going too for a while. All right, and then let's see. Red Boat says, went fishing this weekend, caught my bass on creature bait, super hog, green pumpkin blue. There we go, guys. Yeah, that green pumpkin, I mean, it's out there doing its thing. So that creature bait, so that crawl imitation. So there you go. Who was that was asking about the crawl baits? I think that was you, Paul. So yeah, so there you go. So people are catching them on those crawl baits. And so those jigs look like they're the ticket right now. All right, Lance Irwin checking in. Glad you're checking into the live stream. What's going on? All right, and Josh says we caught one of Chicken Hawk's fish out there on Lanier. That is true. We did catch one of Chicken Hawk's fish out there on Lanier. Just one though, just one. All right, and let's see. Then we have Brian Hindu checking in. He says, good job on the channel. All right, really appreciate that, man. I mean, I'm out here trying to, you know, do a little something for you guys, and, you know, just kind of build a community for us to be able to come to, share our experiences out on the water, give some tips and everything to each other. So, you know, it just kind of helps out everybody overall. So for me, I'd rather hear the story of somebody coming back saying that they had a good day on the water, they were out there catching them, or something that they may have heard on this channel did help them out while they were out, whether it's a tournament or you're just out fun fishing, just enjoying yourself out there, out on the water. So whether it is dealing with electronics, dealing with that shallow water fishing, whatever that is, whether you have Humminbird, Mega Live, 360 imaging, you have Garmin Livescope, or you have Lowrance Active Target, pretty much here, as long as you're trying to learn, get better out there on the water, that's what it's all about. And pretty much you always continue to learn something out there on the water. So it's a good thing, guys. All right, and we have Paul Gavinsky saying he's checking back in. And guys, again, this is a member of the money team. So, and basically, whenever you look on the screen, guys, you will, hold on one second. Let me mute that right quick. Okay, so yeah, if you look right next to his name, you will see that he has the MoneyBass logo right next to his name. That is what shows that he is a member of the money team. And if you're interested in that, just click that join button right below, and it will give you some information about, you know, the perks that you get as far as being a member of the money team, and just a way to support the channel. So really appreciate that, Paul. All right, so he says they were sitting 50 feet deep. Whoa. All right, they were sitting 50 feet deep and bait balls were on top. Okay. Yeah. So we did see that also. I saw that this weekend when we were out on the water. Then I believe they were gar. So I think we did see some gar also. And let's see. I had long noodles on my graph. Usually that means huge schools below the boat are boat like stripers or white bass. So yeah, so and then I mean, like you said, it could have been some gar down there too. But right now, those bait balls, they are out there roaming around. And if you have, whether you look them up on your sonar or your live imaging, you will see those fish are actively feeding in those schools of bait right now. And like we were saying earlier, they're on that good shallow water bite on that crawl, on that crawl pattern too, guys. So if you're ready to get out there and catch some big ones, they're sitting out there shallow. So I haven't been out there yet to to check that deep bite, but hopefully, depending on the weather tomorrow, guys, I'll probably go out there tomorrow and I'll bring that footage to you tomorrow also. So I'll go out there and hopefully I can stick 2, 3, maybe 5, and then I can bring that footage and show it to you tomorrow also. All right, guys. So we have, nice little crowd coming in tonight. So really, really appreciate it. So for tonight, what we are going to be discussing is just kind of get your opinion. I just want to hear back from you guys as far as the new active target that has come out, and you see those new features. It basically allows you to have a wider range as far as the live imaging goes on your scout mode, is what Lowrance calls it. Whereas before that beam, you were using one transducer and you may cover, I can't remember how many degrees it is. If there's someone in here that is a lot more familiar with Lowrance and you want to chime in and just drop some of those details on it. But now you're able to see a wider range on your scout mode, and for your what is it, your forward mode, you're able to see a little bit farther back behind you, and you are using two transducers with that, guys. So it does have quite a bit of cost to it. And that is something that I was wondering also, guys. So for you Lowrance guys, so we have guys that are in the chat that may run Humminbird and Garmin and Lowrance, Humminbird and Lowrance. So guys have, we have a little bit of everyone in here. So just want to get some feedback from the Lowrance guys. What are your impressions and your thoughts on the new equipment that has been released for Lowrance? Are you guys going to get it? Are you just thinking about it? What do you think about the pricing and what it's offering? Is it enough to go ahead and make you, step up to, just add that little bit more to your boat? So that's kind of something that I was interested in. And let's just see who else we have stepping in. So we have Brian Hindu says, what is the water temp you guys are fishing? I do not remember what that water temp was. I remember looking at the screen and talking about it, but I can't remember right offhand. But if anybody else has been out there, maybe Josh, you remember, or Paul, if you remember what the water temps were, go ahead and drop that down in there. And I think Paul, I think you fish a little further south towards Alabama. So yeah. So if you guys know those water temps, go ahead and drop those in there. Then we have Vernon Neal. What is going on, my man? I'm late, but I'm tuning in. All right, good deal. All right, and Paul Gavinsky says water temp on Sunday was in the low 60s. Not too bad. Yeah. So I mean, all we need was just a little bit of a change to kind of get those fish back active again. I don't know about you guys, but for the past, I don't know, 2-3 months, things have been kind of tough. It's been kind of tough out there. So, I mean, I don't know, guys. Hopefully things will pick up. But actually, for this past weekend, Josh was out there doing his thing. So he was, he was proving it a little, proving people wrong that were saying it was too tough out there. The bite was slow, but he was catching some nice fish. All right, nice and still fishable. All right. And then Josh says we had it starting around 56 to 58 degrees all day. So there we go. All right, there we go. So yeah, it's a little cooler here, Paul, because yours was sitting in the 60s. So yeah, things are dropping here a little bit faster. All right, and let me see. Academic Mailbox says, talking about jigs and stealth techniques, people are finding, what is that, 3/4-inch tungsten weights in Carolina rigs can be fished similar to a jig. That is correct. I think it was John Cruz mentioned it today. All right, yeah. So right now, whenever you're out there and you're fishing rocks or fishing points or something like that, and you do want to move a little faster, sometimes maybe you can throw a Carolina rig out there and just cover water a little bit faster and get that more of a finesse presentation. And I think that is kind of the ticket right now, guys, is getting that finesse presentation out there on the water. All right. And Paul Gavinsky says it was slow, but got my 5, although I wouldn't bring any of those 5 to the scale. All right. Hey, we've all had those days. So I know exactly what you're talking about. All right, guys. So the topic of this evening. So with all of this technology coming out, and of course, we have some people that are for electronics, against electronics. Some guys have the electronics and can fish with them or without them. And so with which wherever you fall at in that spectrum, what do you think about, as things are progressing? And when you think back to whenever you first started, how do you compare that to things now? And I mean, I can kind of see the sentiment that guys are saying, and saying, this isn't really fishing. Those kind of statements are what you're starting to hear a lot from guys. But the thing that I want to say, and I pulled this up last time just to let you guys know. So whenever you hear someone saying that this is not fishing, the first thing that always comes to my mind is that whenever you're saying this is not fishing, regardless of whether it's using electronics, whether it's kayak fishing, fishing from the lake, from the bank, fishing ponds, fishing, whatever style of fishing that you're doing, and someone says this is not fishing, the real statement that they should say, in my opinion, is this is not the way that I fish or the way that I choose to fish, because all of it actually is still fishing. The actual definition of fishing, I read this for you last time, guys. And like I said, I want to get some feedback and see what your thoughts are on this. So fishing itself is the activity of catching fish, either for food or as sport. So the fishing itself does not really have too many specifics in that. So whatever it is that you're doing and you're finding enjoyment in that, then that is still considered fishing. So for me, what I would say is, the reason that I can relate to it, because my first experience with fishing was growing up in the country, and a very wooded area where you could actually go out in your backyard at any time and just pull out your gun and start shooting cans and things like that. So that country where you can just walk out the door if you want to go and feed the chickens or go and feed the hogs or dig up some worms in the pig pen. That country. That's kind of how I grew up, guys. So fishing where you can go out and find a stick, get some fishing line, get some nuts and bolts and put it on there, go and sneak in your uncle's tackle box and grab a few hooks and go to the creek. That country, that kind of fishing is how I kind of grew up. And so for me, whether we were doing that or we may, luckily one of our uncles will let us use one of their fishing poles and they take us to a lake or something like that, we always had that competition to where whoever caught the most fish. It didn't matter if you caught something like this, that was still a fish. Or if you caught something like this, that was still a fish. And it was still kind of that ingrained competition. We pretty much would all just have one pole. You'd have one little tackle box. If you had a tackle box, if you didn't have to kind of, sneak into your uncle's tackle or something like that and, take a lure here or there, that type of thing. So for me, whenever I think about when someone says that is not fishing, I kind of can see how, regardless of what they are saying, that is not fishing. I, in my mind, can still say, well, that is still not fishing. What you're saying is it is, because of how I grew up and how I initially viewed fishing. So what do you guys think? What was your first experience with fishing or growing up as compared to now? And actually, the funny thing about it is the first fish that I caught was actually a rainbow trout. That was the first fish that I ever caught, and that was in the state of Washington. So that was kind of where I kind of, started getting into it. And as you guys know, once you feel that first tug on that line, it does something to you. If it does something to you. And if it does do something to you, it does something to you for life. So it's kind of a life-changing thing. So at that point, that may be what you consider fishing, because that is what you were initiated into fishing doing. So some people may have been lucky enough to have a John boat or actually have a real nice boat. And if that is how they caught their first fish, that may be what they consider fishing. So for me, whenever I did throughout the years, I always continued fishing, and it was bank fishing, guys. I wasn't fishing out of a boat. So anytime that I saw some water, I mean, I would grab my pole, go out and go fishing. And even as an adult, I mean, sometimes I may be at home and like, hey, I want some fish for lunch. So I may hop up, go to the lake, catch one fish, come back, and that is my lunch. So that to me was always fishing. I always had a good feeling about it. And that thing where people say they can, you get out there and you're connecting with nature and all of that good stuff. So I do completely understand that. So that to me is one realm of fishing. And I would call that feelings or enjoyment fishing. Let's just say that is because that is some type of connection, and it always brings you back to where you started from. So that is how I kind of see that type of fishing, guys. So whenever someone says that is not fishing, and nowadays what you normally hear that in relation to is electronics, guys. So you hear that in relation to electronics. So in a sense, I can see what someone means when they say that is not fishing, but they need to finish that sentence and say that is not fishing. To me, that is not fishing in my opinion. So that is how I would word that. So now moving along, once you step it up a little bit, you get a little older. Maybe you get a boat or something like that. So now you're just transitioning into another form or another style of fishing. So now you're able to get into a boat. You're able to go out to more places. You're able to see new things, experience new things. That is still fishing. Whenever I was first doing that, I mean, I had a very small fish finder. I can't even remember what the thing was called, and it barely worked. But to me, that just added a new level of experience to it. I mean, it was a little bitty black and white sonar. I think it had sonar, and that was it. I don't even remember if the thing had mapping on it, but and I'm pretty sure it did. But I mean, that kind of stepped it up, and you learned something new. To me, that was still fishing. It's just a different type of fishing. So let's just skip straight to going from that. And now let's throw in tournament fishing into that. So at the time, whenever I did start fishing from a boat, it was initially with a friend of mine that does a lot of crappie fishing. And one of the things, whenever I was looking at transitioning into bass fishing and specifically tournament fishing, bass tournament fishing, he was pretty much saying like it kind of made, it was exciting to me. It sounded pretty exciting. And I was like, hey man, I'm going to check out this new, this thing that's new to me. I'm going to start fishing tournaments. And he was like, well, no, that's not my thing. And I'm thinking that he had done it in the past. So his opinion on that was basically for him, it took the fun out of it. It because now you're stepping into a whole different thing. It kind of adds a little what is that? It kind of adds some, I mean, you have that adrenaline flowing. You have some, I guess, a little bit of stress. So you kind of put you on the edge a little bit. Some people strive. Sometimes that is somebody's thing. But for him, he rather stay on the complete fun side of things, to where he's not out there competing. He's just competing for the pleasure itself. And that's it. He's just competing against the fish. And so that is what really excited him about it. To this day, he still goes out there and he does a lot of crappie fishing. Shout out to Crappie Fishing with Drysdale. So make sure you guys look him up on YouTube. He has a nice channel. He's always out there having a good time, guys. So that was another thing to where I went ahead and headed toward the tournament side. He stayed toward what I would say the feelings or the enjoyment side of it. So not saying that you don't enjoy the tournament side of it, but you guys that are tournament fishermen, you know exactly what I'm referring to. And actually, if anyone is in the chat right now, just put tournament in there. So let's see how many tournament fishermen that we actually have in here. Because whenever I meet you guys out on the water, at the boat ramps, different places like that, the last two guys that I met, they actually told me they aren't tournament fishermen. They go out there and they fish for fun, but they are subscribers and strong supporters of the channel. And I was, I was like, wow, that's pretty neat, because a lot of the things that we talk about, especially throughout the tournament season, is tournament fishing. But I have done a lot of tutorials on electronics, on different type of techniques, gear, things like that. So I know with that variety of things that I have, it offers a lot of things, so it will attract a wide variety of people, which is a good thing. It's a good thing, guys. But yeah, so if you fish tournaments, drop tournaments down in there. If you are more of a fun fisherman or family fisherman, just put fun down there. Just want to see if what kind of mixture that we have in here. All right, so with the tournament side of things. So now we head into tournaments, and people say that's not fishing. Can anyone kind of see where they're coming from? Even if you are, and in the past, we've had conversations about banning electronics or all the, all that kind of stuff right there. But let's say you are someone that is for electronics. Do you kind of understand or see where someone is coming from where they say that is not fishing? Because based on my experiences and how I grew up fishing and everything, I can see that. But for me, when you go into the realm of tournament fishing, now you are tournament fishing, which is a whole different animal. So yes, there is still a pleasure or a fun aspect to it, but it kind of reminds me of being, I don't know, anybody ever drove a NASCAR before? You ever drove a NASCAR? I have. I mean, I drove it. I believe it was down on the Atlanta Motor Speedway, I think, where they had something called the NASCAR experience. So there's driving a car, but then there's driving a NASCAR. All right. There's fun fishing, there's regular fishing, and then there is tournament fishing.
Yes, sir.
So tournament fishing, I mean, let's just say fishing is here. You're gonna amp it up a little bit once you go into tournament fishing. Driving is here, but you're gonna amp that up a little bit whenever you go out there and you start doing some tournament fishing. All right. So to me, you can't really compare the two. So that fun fishing or feelings fishing, where you want to limit things, or this isn't natural feeling or fishing, or things are kind of changing. To me, all of that starts to come into play once you go to tournament fishing. Things are no longer the same. You can't really look at that and have those type of complaints about it. And this is the other thing that I was wanting to get some feedback from you guys and just some answers, because I did mention this in the last live stream, and you guys saw me and Chicken Heart were going back and forth with it. We had Harry hopped in, we had DP hop in, so we had a good time, going back and forth, and everybody voicing their opinions on it. And I just wanted to, get some feedback from you guys that were in the comments that did not come up. And let me see. What I'll do is let me go ahead and drop the link in the chat. If anybody does want to come up, I can pull you up. You can just kind of give your experience on, how do you see fishing? What is fishing to you? How would you define it whenever you hear someone saying this is not fishing? And in a minute, guys, what I'll do, real quick, I forgot to tell you guys this. So we're going to go over continue talking about this topic for a quick second. And then as always, we would do the quick segment where it is the how would you fish it? And tonight, what we would do that on is Active Target 2. So I'll pull up some footage from the Active Target 2, and then just you guys take a look at that screen and just let me know what bait you would choose. You can just let me know what is, what you see on the screen that is making you choose that particular bait. And in a sense, guys, this is just a way for us to kind of share information, get a little better on the water, because there are some things that I may see and tell you of what I'm seeing and how I would fish it, that you may not see it that same way. But then after you hear what I have to say, or I hear what you have to say, it may make us think a little bit and may give us some alternative ways of viewing some things that we're seeing out there on the water. All right, so let me just go back into the comments real quick, guys. I just want to make sure I get caught up, because you guys have been active in the comment section. All right, so we have Vernon Neal, longtime supporter of the channel. He says, I'm going to a lake on Thursday where the water temp is 78, a power plant lake. Oh, so you're gonna have a good time out there. So you're out there you're gonna have a good time out there. 78 degrees. Those fish are gonna be out there biting. All right, we have Mr. Paul Gavinsky, member of the money team, checking in. He says, I need to figure out how to get a jig down 50 feet and stay on target. I was bouncing my jig and seeing the fish chasing on Garmin Livescope. Then my 32, what is that? AH went dead. Oh, okay, so that is a lithium battery. Oh man, so your lithium battery went dead on you. So I know those lithiums, when they go dead, they're just dead. You don't lose a little bit of power and it's still working, but not up to par. You just completely lost power on that. All right, so let's see what you had to say here. You said to get a jig down 50 feet and stay on target. Whoa. man, what lake is that? You're getting the jig, but you're wanting that jig to go down 50 feet. So, I mean, for me, I would throw a shaky head. I would throw that shaky head, especially you can watch that on that live imaging and watch that go down there, just kind of more of a finesse presentation. And it's easier to keep on the bottom with a spinning reel. So for me, that is how I would do that. If anybody else wants to chime in, always get active down in the comments, guys. Let's see what else somebody would say if they were in that situation where you're seeing those fish at 50 feet. And I'm guessing that you must see them kind of low down to the bottom. They're not suspended. So if they're suspended, I would be throwing a swim bait around this time of year, a small swim bait, just something to match the hatch that you're seeing out there on the water. So that's my suggestion on that. But yeah, Paul is a member of the money team, guys.
Yes, sir.
So go ahead and drop a few comments in there for him. Let's see what you think about that, Paul. All right. So we have DP Darren Pearson says, let me see, just like the telephones, how when they came up, they were, let me see, you had to dial them and had the long cords. Then you had the flip phone. Now you have the Apple, but nobody stopped getting the phones as they upgraded. Okay. All right. That is a good point. So basically what he's saying is, yeah, we started off with those phones. Everybody remember those old phones we used to have with the little little twisty cords on them and stuff like that, big buttons and all that. So as we progress, everybody does, upgrade. So that technology is on its way. And I mean, it's going to keep moving. All right, C219 Troll, he is back in the live stream. Really appreciate you coming back. He says, what's up, money? Took third on Watery with 7 crappie weighing 11.35. All right, there we go, guys. Looks like he's still out there cashing checks. Good job. All right, guys. So this is the other thing. So this is a place. This is a safe place, guys. This is a safe place. You can come here and do a little bit of bragging. I mean, if you're out there and you're cashing checks, you're catching fish, even if you're not catching fish, but you learn a new technique. Maybe it's their first time catching a fish on a jig or a Texas rig, or some people are out there, throwing that Carolina rig, or just a new technique. Maybe you're into throwing big swim baits now. If you're out there and you're getting results that you haven't got before, or something that you are viewing as a win, go ahead and make sure you drop that in the comments, guys, because we definitely want to celebrate, the wins that you guys are having out there. And I mean, we'll talk about those losses and stuff a little bit too. I mean, because we have all had them. But yeah, congratulations to that C219 Troll. He is the crappie king in the chat. So yeah, I really appreciate you coming back and checking out the channel and always showing support. All right, so Josh says, grew up on a lake. We lived on one of the channels. So on one of the channels. So I got to walk to the bank and fish all the time. So there we go, guys. That is what I'm talking about. So yeah, I mean, that is always to me a good feeling whenever it's something that you would just kind of be looking forward to, something you would be anxious about, going out there and just spending that time whenever you're walking to the lake. And so to me, that is what I would consider pure fishing to me. Whenever you're out there, just that one pole, walking that bank, trying to figure out where you're going to catch that fish at. And when you finally get one, I mean, hey, you've had a great day out there on the water. All right. And let's see who else we have. Guys, we have that guy is back into the live stream. Really, really appreciate you coming back and supporting the channel. Let's see. He says, I am glad I got my start without many electronics to hone my natural skills, but now I enjoy the new technology. That is the point of it right there, guys. So that is the exact same way that I feel. So going through that progression and getting to the point that I'm at now, I mean, fishing with electronics adds some more, just another level of excitement and fun to it, along with the things that I've learned throughout the years. So yeah, I mean, I definitely understand that statement and agree with that. All right, so we have Paul Gavinsky, member of the money team. All right, checking back in, says my fish start with a sheep's head off of a Florida pier fishing. I grew up in Inglewood. All right. So yeah, so you started off with saltwater fishing. That's a whole different animal right there. So yeah, so you had a good time out there on the water. So yeah, good deal, good deal. All right, so let's see what else we have, guys. Let's see who else we have. So yeah, I'm gonna go through these comments, give some shout outs. And just like I said, want to get some feedback from you guys as far as your experience and how you view the topic that we're talking about. Because like I said, guys, I get a lot of comments, a lot of feedback from you guys. So this is something that is near to your hearts, whether you are somebody that likes electronics or does not like electronics. I see how we can all have some common ground on this, and we can see where each other are coming from. And now it's just a matter of when you have that pull towards tournament fishing versus that pull towards, hey, I like the natural, just the way that I grew up fishing. And whenever you try to bump those two together, I don't think that they really mix that well. So that's kind of the way that I'm seeing it. But like I said, I want to see, hear some feedback from you guys regarding that. All right, let's see who else we have. Academic Mailbox back again says Jacob Wheeler used to fish off the bank while boats were on lakes in local Indiana tournaments. Let's see. Guess who knew 14-year-old Jacob Wheeler said on BTL? Did I read that right? Guess who knew? Okay, yeah, I got it. All right, Jacob Wheeler asked everyone questions and watched events from the bank. All right, there you go. So yeah, I mean, everybody's gonna have different experiences, and I mean, growing up, I mean, it's just a really exciting thing to be out there on that water, and especially when you see somebody else catching fish, all of it is exciting, guys. All of it is new and exciting, and that's another thing as far as the younger generation that is coming up into the fishing industry. You guys saw that I had the guys from Stiff Rods Podcast. Make sure you check out their channel. They are on YouTube. So if you just search Stiff Rod Podcast, you will see them. They are some college fishermen. So they're on a college team, had them on the podcast, had a real great time. And they were the same guys that I know a lot of you guys probably saw the video that Randy Blockett put out where he was, having a small debate with some college fishermen. Those are those guys. So they were on here last week, I believe. So yeah, so good thing. All right, and let's see what this next. Brian. Okay, so we have Brian coming up. Brian says, what about the trout ponds, which they stocked on the opening day? The fishing is super easy, but you are right. Kids get involved and hooked. Yes. So the reason I'm laughing about that is because I took my son when he was a lot younger to a stocked trout pond. I mean, the pond was very small. Whenever you tied that little worm, and I believe it was worm, so you go there, you pay your fee, you get your pole, they give you the pole and everything, and I think they give you one pole, one hook, and one bait. And I'm thinking like, I think we're gonna need more than just one worm. You know what I mean? So we head over to the pond. You look and you don't really, I mean, you can't see the fish in there, but I mean, you see the nice little pond and everything. So he already knows how to cast. So I hand him the pole and he slings it in there. And then as soon as that bait hits the water, you see the water start moving from everywhere. And those fish are just all going to fight over that one worm. And you stick that fish, he reeled it in. I mean, he was having a great time, guys. He was having a great time. And I mean, it was fun watching him. It was a really quick experience. It was over real fast. As soon as you cast, the fish hit it. He reeled it in, got it to the bank. And then the part that I did not know is that there are so many fish in there in this type of stock pond that you are going to catch one. And when you catch one, you keep that one. And when you keep that one, you take it back up there and they weigh it and they charge you based on the weight of the fish. So I did not know that was the case. So of course he wanted to do it one more time. So I was like, okay, let's go ahead and catch one more. So we went ahead and caught another fish. I mean, there were some nice sized fish that they kept stocked in the ponds, and they clean them for you and everything. So that was, kind of a stock pond. That was my experience going out fishing a pond like that. When I grew up, we did fish some other stock ponds for catfish and things like that, and it was not like what I just explained. That was the first time I ever saw something. As soon as you throw something in there, those fish, they look like sharks or whatever, come swimming through the water to come and get that one worm that you throw in the water. All right, but yeah, good deal. Yeah, always fun to get those kids and stuff like that involved in it. All right, so we have Fritz. What is going on? Glad you were checking into the live stream. Had a place on Mississippi River up in Minnesota. Used 8-foot cane poles with floats for panfish when I was young. There you go. So I've never fished with the cane pole fishing, but we did whenever we did not have fishing poles. but we did have like fishing line and a hook or something like that. We would go and get like some long sticks off of trees. I mean, back then we called them switches. So we would get some long, but we would make sure we get some that were kind of long and had a little bit of flex to them, and we would just tie our fishing line straight to that. So that's similar to what you're talking about, but ours was a little lower tech. If you want to call cane pole fishing higher tech, we were actually fishing a little lower tech than that. So yeah, that was a good deal. All right, so now this is when I was asking, who do we have in here that fishes tournaments? Yes, C219 Troll is a tournament fisherman. He is out there cashing checks with the crappie fishing. All right, then we have Brian. All right, Brian is a tournament fisherman also. All right, and we got Vernon Neal says, I grew up bank fishing creeks, bayous, small ponds. Saved for 20 years and bought my first boat. There you go. That is how you do it. So yeah, I mean, it's just that progression in life, guys, that I was talking about. And when you first get that boat, I mean, it's a whole new world. Whenever I bought my first boat, guys, it was a fishing ski boat. And I can't remember exactly where I saw it at. Maybe it was on Craigslist or something like that. So I see the boat on there and I'm looking and I'm like, man, I really do want to get that boat. So I made the decision and I went and bought it. And I remember driving back and looking in my rearview mirror and seeing that I have a boat. Man, I mean, the feeling, I just couldn't believe it. It was hard for me to even look at the road without keep looking in my rear view mirror, because I just had to keep looking back at it like, man, I can't believe this. I actually own a boat now. I'm going to be able to go out on the water, catch fish. So it was a real exciting thing. And so what Vernon Neal is saying, he saved up for 20 years. Woo, that is a long time. 20 years, finally got his boat. So I know you really, really appreciated that boat, because that was a long time coming. All right, then we have Fritz. All right, Fritz fishes tournaments. All right, and let's see who else we have. That guy, 8 years tourney and hope to get back to it soon. All right, 8 years. All right, there we go. All right, so it looks like everybody's dropping tournaments in here. Vernon Neal says tournament. We have DP, Darren Pearson says tournaments. All right, and I know Josh fishes tournaments. I know Josh is a tournament fisherman. He says, I used to do tournaments, don't get to do as many anymore with my job. Yeah, that's right. I mean, time will get you. And that's another thing that I say about the whole thing about some people, for electronics, against electronics, all of that. I mean, it's the thing where, guys, you have to find what works for you. Some of us don't have time to get out there on the water that often. You may have one time that you can get out there on that water in a month or 2 months or something like that. Some people may have health issues to where whenever they go out on the water, they can't spend that much time out there on the water. So having sonar, side scan, live imaging, whatever type of electronics that can kind of help you out to, hopefully allow you to get out there and catch fish a little bit faster. That's something that will help you out. And so depending on your situation, especially if you're tournament fishing, if you're out there trying to do some tournament fishing, you need to get out there and get to work. But yeah, so it's just that thing where people have to find their comfort zone and what works for them. So that's kind of the way that I see it. But Josh says, yeah, he used to, but now with his job. So yeah, I mean, when he gets that time in there, he's going to squeeze it in. Maybe we can get back out on the water. Maybe next week. I just have to check my schedule and see what the weather is like. But I do want to get back out on that lake first to see if I can find some of those fish offshore. All right, give me just a second. All right, guys. So let's see. So we have Red Boat says tournament in the past in Arkansas. All right. So we have another tournament. So it doesn't look like any of the fun guys. We're the guys that just want to go out there and just throw a line out there and just catch a fish or two. Where are those guys at? All right. So Brian says, no, it can still be tough with electronics. Guys win without electronics. What gives? That's right. That is right. So yeah, I mean, and actually that's what just happened this weekend. Josh was out there killing them. He wasn't catching those fish with electronics this weekend. I mean, he saw some bait fish a little bit, but for the most part, he was using those shallow water techniques that did not require electronics. All right, so let's see. Fritz says also fish for fun and food. There we go. There we go. So yeah, I mean, so I think all of us kind of do a mixture of that. And then, but there are some guys out there that don't fish tournaments at all. So that to me, that is kind of a different thing. Once you taste that tournament, that adrenaline rush and all that stuff that goes with it, rolling in a boat, cold in the morning, that wind hitting your face when you're rolling about 70 something miles an hour, it's a whole different animal. It's a different ball game. All right. Paul Gavinsky, member of the money team, back again, says more fun than tournaments. I'll do the yearly military tournament though. Oh, okay. So what lake is that on when you do that military tournament? Might have to check that out. Might have to check it out. All right. Then we have Thomas. I pronounced your name before the right way. I don't want to try it again. I might say it wrong this time. All right. But Thomas says, my first experience was smacking the milfoil with a cane pole. Whoa. Okay. It really does attract fish. Drop a shiner in a hole and fish on. About 1972. All right. There we go. So yeah. So that is definitely some of that skill that people are talking about. No electronics, just pure skill going back to the cane pole. All right. And let's see, we have Joseph. All right, Joseph. Joseph says money. Maybe I do it differently, but I use active target mostly to learn fish behavior. The active target doesn't catch them, but I can see what they do or don't respond to. That is correct. That is a very, very big statement right there. So, and what I would say is whenever someone first starts using, even if you get to the point where you can use your sonar very well, you can still track that fish behavior. And the thing I keep mentioning, guys, is that RTS window. I know some of you guys don't know what that is. Some of you guys may know it, but don't use it. But that is the little live window that you have on sonar. So even if you don't have live imaging, technically that sonar can be used as live imaging if you know how to use that right. But one of the surprising things to people whenever they start using live imaging, whether it's that Mega Live system, Humminbird Mega Live, which I use, Joseph uses Lowrance Active Target, and then some of you guys out there are using the Garmin. But regardless of which one it is, you're able to see that fish behavior, and that is very, very surprising to people, especially when you see it the first time, where you see a fish actually swim over to your bait where you may not have thought that there was a fish there in the past. Now you can see that pretty much there's fish all around. You're just not able to catch them all the time. So those fish are there. They're watching your bait in a lot of cases. They just don't want to eat. So you have to try to figure out what to get them to bite. But yeah, that is definitely a big statement that he said. All right. Then Brian Henlow says heavy drop shot. So I think he's referring to Paul, what you were fishing in that 50 feet of water. So yeah, that drop shot, that could be an option too. But the thing that I have found, guys, is I think those fish are starting to get used to hearing that clicking from the sonar, because for me, catching them on drop shot at one point, I was able to snatch them up, but now it seems like they may be figuring something out. They may be figuring something out with with all this technology that we have. So you guys that are fishing shallow and stuff, hey, they may be coming back to you. We may be kicking them back to you guys. So just hold tight. They may be back on their way to you. All right. Then we have Academic Mailbox says in Ireland, the Germans and French would come to match fish in competition for coarse fish species. Okay. All right. We looked down at saltwater fishing too, unless it was trout. It didn't count. All right. Yeah. So that's kind of true even now. If someone's a striper fisherman and they catch a bass, I think they're calling them trash fish. If we're bass fishing and we're trying to catch bass and we catch a striper, I think we still call them the same. So yeah, I mean, whatever you're into, that's the thing, All right. So Josh looks like he's referring back to Paul. Let's see what he has to say to Paul. At 50 feet, I would use a 1/2 ounce to a 3/4 ounce jig to get that bait down there and keep it on the bottom. So yeah, I agree with that. I would throw a 3/4 ounce if I definitely wanted to stick with a jig. Yeah, but that 50 feet thing, I don't know if I fished the jig that deep before. Normally, like I said, I'll just go straight to a shaky head because of that fall rate and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, who knows? He may be out there banging them out at that 50 feet deep with those jigs. All right. Then we have Joseph says most of our local tournaments are won by electronics heavy guys. That being said, those same guys also work harder than most, learning all that they can to use those new tools to learn what's up right now. There you go. That is the truth. And so even basically that statement is saying that, yeah, if someone is out there and they're using electronics, they do have an advantage. If you're fishing offshore, yes. And in the sense, if you're fishing shallow and you know how to use those electronics shallow, any type of electronics is going to give you some type of boost. But the thing that comes along with that is a lot of work and time on the water, guys. It's not just as easy as you slap that thing on your boat and now you're going to go out there and start catching fish. Those people that have mastered those techniques, they have put a lot of time on the water, the same way that there are some guys that have put in a lot of time on the water fishing shallow. John Cox, Keith Poche, is that his name, Keith? But yeah, so certain people, I mean, they put in water mastering the craft that they have chosen. But if you have somebody that has a combination of those 2 or 3 different things going on, then they're going to be tough to beat too. So it's just another tool that you can add to your arsenal, is getting up on these electronics. All right, so did I read all of that one? Let's see. All right, yeah, so I got you, Joseph. All right, so Darren Pearson says for the guy that's fishing the jig in 50 feet. Oh, for the guy that's fishing the jig. And okay, so that's Paul. So for Paul, this is another one for you. All right. Look at that member of the money team getting all this love in the chat. All right. So he says the jig in 50 feet, you need to throw a 1 ounce jig. It will stay on target and stay down there. Yes, it definitely will if you throw a 1 ounce jig. And actually, now that you said that, I caught a 577 largemouth on Lake Gunnersville throwing a 1 ounce jig. And I think it did come in like 30 to 40 feet of water. And I mean, when the jig itself was so heavy that when I was reeling the fish in, I didn't know if I was reeling in the jig or the fish, because reeling that 1 ounce jig in that deeper water, it definitely put some bend and some flex in that pole. So yeah, that is a good suggestion right there. You can try that out and see if it works. All right, Paul says, I thought about those guys when I was seeing the fish at 50 feet, but then they also stated, that they were having the trolling motor on high and having to work out with a cranking rod. 50 feet deep. Now that is getting a crankbait down to 50 feet. I mean, I've heard of some people putting some extra weight on crankbaits, and actually that is something to think about, guys. I mean, they have I think Rapala has some baits that you can cast and let those things drop all the way down like that. Some type of crankbait. But people actually weight their crankbaits too. And now with the live technology, I mean, it's another one of those things. Not like you're just going to go out there and master this. You'd have to go out there and put some time in on the water and time with those electronics. And you may be able to get out there with a weighted crankbait, get that thing down to 50 feet of water where not many other people are doing it. And now you have another advantage on someone. So someone else that may be using those same electronics, maybe they don't know how to get out there and get those baits down to 50 feet. All right. And Paul, member of the money team, he says Lee County Lake does the same thing. All right. Good deal. And Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones is in the live stream. Now, Mr. Jones, I know you guys see that name, but Mr. Jones is normally in the comments on my videos whenever I drop them. So he's in there getting busy and putting in work in the comments. Really, really appreciate you supporting the channel. All right. And he's a tournament fisherman, tournament guy. All right. So Redboat says, I bank fish for about 30 years before I got my first boat. Still do both and love it. Yes. So hey, I mean, do both and love it. That is a good thing, man. You know, it's like I am kind of getting the urge to go back out there and hit the bank, but we'll see. Maybe we'll do that next time we go camping. Next time I go camping with the guys, maybe that's something we'll try out. All right, Paul Gavinsky says the military tournaments change lakes and even states. Last one was in West Point. The others were in Tennessee and Lake Eufaula. Okay, yeah. So I fished West Point and Lake Eufaula. Hey guys, search MoneyBass Lake Eufaula. Check out my tournament on Lake Eufaula, guys. That was a good one for me. And man, I get these lakes and everything and tournament years all mixed up, but I think that was this year. No, it was last year. 3 days, I had like 40 something pounds. So I had a great time out there on Lake Eufaula. All of those fish came off of a shaky head too, guys. So make sure you check that out. And that whole setup that I had, that whole shaky head setup, just search MoneyBass shaky head and you'll see the whole setup that I used to catch all those fish. All right. So yeah, just sharing a little bit of information with you guys. Hey, just giving you some tips on some things. All right. Joseph says, The shallower it gets, the louder the clicking of the sonar due to power saturation. So often after you locate them real shallow, you come out better turning them off once you know where they're at. Yeah, so with me, even when I'm out in like 30, 40 feet is what I'm talking. Because whenever I'm fishing vertical like that, I'm out in deeper water, 30, 40, 50 feet deep, things like that. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean with that. I mean, I've heard people that, once they get shallow, they'll turn them off. All right, so we have Burning Neil says, my wife asked a question. Uh-oh, we got wifey checking in. Got wifey checking in. Why is it when bank fishing, you throw as far out as possible, and when fishing from the boat, you throw as close to the bank as possible? Oh, man. Oh, man. Come on, Burning. What did you tell her about that one? I still think about that to this day. Every time I'm out there and I'm on my boat and I go all the way up and I'm casting, sometimes I cast on the bank and bring my bait back across that shallow water. So, and I guess the thing that's kind of funny about it is, in a sense, is it that you always want what you don't have? Think about that, guys. Do you just want what you don't have? Because when you're on the bank, you're trying to cast a mile away from the bank because it's hard to get out there in that deeper water. But now you get a boat, and you have access to that deeper water. But now you're trying to cast in 1 inch of water. Why is that? But what I would tell her is, I mean, that first answer is probably what I would say first. You always want something that you don't have, thinking it's a little bit better. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But whenever you're shallower on the bank, those fish do set up. They do set up shallow. But if you're on the bank, you're gonna scare those fish away. So they're gonna they're gonna move away. But if you're on the bank and you cast kind of parallel to the bank from the bank, then that is still an effective way to catch those shallower fish. But for the most part, when you're around the bank, I think those fish can kind of sense that you're there, and they may move back a little bit or something like that. But I mean, yeah, it just kind of depends. But then whenever you're on a boat, you can cover more water whenever you cast all the way to the bank, and now you're bringing that boat. I mean, I'm sorry, bringing that bait back to the boat. Because let's say you're sitting in 30, 40 feet of water and you cast all the way to the bank and you drag that bait or that crankbait, whatever it is that you're fishing, all the way back, you're covering a lot of different depths in that water column. So that's what I would say. But yeah, so that is a good question. That is something, like I said, that is pretty funny, guys. All right, but what do you guys think? You guys drop a comment down there. What do you think? Why is it that whenever we used to fish from the bank, we're trying to throw as far away from the bank as we can, but as soon as we get those boats and get away from the banks, guys, now we're trying to cast to the bank? So yeah, that is a good one. That's funny. That's funny. All right, and then we have Paul, Mr. Money, member of the Money Team, back again. Says, my buddy sent a photo of Koreans catching bass and just tossing them on land. So yeah, I was in tears, and they called them trash fish. I have no idea what fish they were trying to catch, though. Oh man, yeah. So that would definitely hurt a bass fisherman's heart especially if they're catching those 3s, 4s, and 5s. So yeah, if they're catching bass like that, yeah, that would definitely hurt a fisherman's heart. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it just depends. I see a lot of people fishing from the bank. They may be going for stripers, catfish. I would think if they had those real big poles, because I've seen some people out there fishing from the bank, and they have some real almost look like they're the length of saltwater poles. I think when people are out there like that, they're trying to catch those catch some stripers. Man, you guys are really getting active in the comment section. That is really good. That is really good. Let me just try to get back on track and see where I was at. But basically we just kind of went over, what I saw fishing as, how I grew up, and how I can still relate to people that say that is not fishing, where it actually is fishing. All of it is fishing. It's just that it may not be fishing the way that you want or fishing the way that you like, but it is still fishing. All right, and let me just see if I can get caught up with these comments real quick, and then we'll hop back to it, guys. All right, yeah, just have a few more to go. All right, and let's see. So Michael, he was early into the live stream. Really appreciate you, and he always stays active in the comments, guys. Really appreciate the support of the channel. He says, you are right about the fishing getting used to the sound of the sonar. I used to drop shot, but I stroll it. Okay, all right. This puts the lure behind the boat where Let me see. Behind the boat, most fish will shadow the boat near the motor. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. So I can see how that would definitely work. I mean, if you're kind of dragging that back behind the boat, and then those stragglers, those fish that are back there, they'll come and thump that. All right. And then we have Thomas says, if divers are close to a Navy ship and the ship turns on the sonar, it will blast the diver's ears out of the water. Whoa. Whoa. Okay, guys. I have not heard. Okay. And he says, scale it down to a bass boat. Yes, it must affect the bass. Guys, I mean, what do you guys think about that? I mean, that definitely. I mean, yeah. I mean, we know we can hear the little pinging sound from our sonar, but I never really thought about it in the context that you just put it with those divers, and those must be some very, very powerful signals that are being put into the water. I used to run radars, but not on the ships. I was basically out in the desert, guys. So but and yeah, it's a whole different thing. It's a whole different thing. But yeah, I ran radar system, so I guess this sonar thing is a little bit different. But I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. All right, Redboat says still want to know about Chicken Hawk. Hawk needs to know. Hawk need to know. Have you ever beat money in a tournament? All right, so yeah, I'm gonna wait and see if Chicken Hawk comes. I'll let him answer that. He'll be able to answer it best. Maybe he'll show up and let you guys know who his new sponsor is and all that all that good kind of stuff, guys. All right. Oh, and real quick, speaking of sponsors, yeah, I don't have anybody sponsoring the channel or anything, but whenever I do these live streams, and actually can't believe I forgot. Let me just drop this down here for you guys. So this banner. What I do each live stream is whoever sends the highest super chat, cash app, super sticker. I think that's it. Or did I say cash app? Just to support the channel, they will become the sponsor of the live stream. And as you see down in this, the banner that is scrolling across the bottom, Maggie, the substitute teacher, she was in here a little earlier. She is the current sponsor because nobody has beat her super chat from whenever I think she gave it during the last live stream. So it just kind of carries over until somebody submits a super chat for this live stream, then their name, there it goes. So sponsor of the live stream, Maggie, the substitute teacher. So once you make a super chat or something like that in here, then you will replace that, and that is how you will become a member of, I'm sorry, a sponsor of tonight's live stream. Somebody did ask me that before, and I forgot to answer that question and give you guys that information. But that's it right there, guys. So there is the banner. Let me hop back into the chat real quick. Oh, and also the other thing, the other way to support the channel is becoming a member of the money team. There is a join button right below the live stream. Just click on that. It just gives you some information about how to become a member of the live stream, member of the channel. And as you see, Paul Gavinsky, if you look right next to his name, he has a badge. He has a MoneyBass logo right next to his name, showing that he is a member of the money team. And it comes with a few little perks and also just a way to show support for the channel, guys. So if you're interested in that, make sure you click on the join button down below to get more information about that. One other thing, check out the merch. Let me know. Just give me some comments. Give me some feedback, guys. Do you like the merch? Does it look good? Just wanted to see if you guys need me to change anything up or what your thoughts are on that. All right, let me hop back into the chat real quick and get caught up. All right, so yeah, Redboat was saying that he wants to know about Chicken Hawk. Yeah, we'll let Chicken Hawk come in and answer that. All right, so Greg 8 says, I have Mega Live and 360 fishing local tournaments. I started having my best success when I started pre-fishing the week before. Let me see, earlier than the day before the tournament. So yeah, I mean, so that is the thing. So really, the more that you put in, if you fish the week before, fish the day before, each one of those is giving you a little bit more or different information, because something that you find out that week before may be the thing that you need to run between that 12 and 2 o'clock or that 10 and 11 o'clock or whatever that you would not have known about if you hadn't pre-fished before. So all of that does help you out. And I mean, I feel the same way, especially if you go out there and you said you have Mega Live and 360. So you're able to find that structure, cover, and you're also able to find those fish that you may need during that tournament. All right, guys. Yeah, we are moving in these comment sections. You guys are moving. You guys are getting active in there. Really, really appreciate that. All right, so let's see. Michael says, told you guys about 3 weeks ago about Lowrance has new stuff coming. Yes, Michael sure did. He wants to let y'all know he has a little bit of inside info, maybe. I don't know. How did you know that, Mike? All right. He says, could not spill the beans. I promised Lowrance I wouldn't. All right. But now you letting us know. You're letting us know. All right. I got you. All right. Greg 8 says, I know a lot can change weather and fish wise, but it gave me opportunity to scout the lake and use side imaging looking for key structure to mark and come. Yeah, so basically that is the thing, guys. When you get out there, if you are pre-fishing, it should be scanning. Pre-scanning is what I would call it. So you want to mark those fish because, in my opinion, you already know how to catch the fish. You need to know where those fish are going to be at as far as the structure, cover, and also if you locate various schools of fish. If you locate enough of those schools of fish, they may be rotating and just kind of rotating between different areas. So once you find those schools, if you pull up to a spot and they weren't where you saw them at before, maybe they moved to that other spot. So yeah, so putting in that time on the water, putting in that work, a lot of times it'll get you the good results. All right, and then let's see, Berkeley makes one by David Fritz that sinks. Okay, yeah, so I think you're talking about those crankbaits, so that you can get them down in that deeper water. All right, good deal, good deal. Jason Hayes says, I saw a video of someone doing a Carolina rig with a crankbait on the end of it. There we go. Look at Jason. Jason dropping some knowledge in there. I mean, some of you guys probably have not heard about that. Putting a crankbait on a Carolina rig. How about that? How about that? Who's gonna get out there and try that one? Because I've heard that before too. All right. So Academic Mailbox says anchored podcast with April that Vokey had Georgia striped bass guide on an episode. There seems to be guides who are dedicated to striped bass, mostly fly fishing guests on Anchored. All right. So that's something you guys can check out. If you guys are interested in, checking out something might be a little bit different. All right. And then Vernon Neal says, I said bank fishing. What's that? All right. Look at that. So when he got that boat, I guess he hasn't been bank fishing since. I know the feeling of that too. All right. Joseph says, all right, he's laughing, says 6 feet deep where I go from a boat. If I can get my lure onto the bank, it doesn't make a splash. Then I can drag it off. I get a lot of reaction bites that way, like fishing a frog or a buzzbait. All right, so there you go. So yeah, so that is another reason where you would have a boat but cast towards the bank, because those frogs and stuff, maybe they're not way out in the middle of the water. So depending on the type of bait that you're throwing too. All right, so that was a good one. All right, and then we have Academic Mailbox. He says Vernon, Denmark has channel fly fishing with Robert on Danish coastline for brown trout and saltwater. He realized fishing, let me see, very close to the beach shore rocks. Okay. He realized fishing. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, everybody has to get out there and do their thing. But yeah, so you're talking about some saltwater fishing right there. So yeah, saltwater is a whole different animal. Those fish are real aggressive. All right, Red Boat says, I thought that bigger fish was far from the bank, but I learned since I got a boat, I have caught my biggest bass next to the bank. That is true. That is true. So, and actually, I have caught my biggest fish have come from shallow water next to the bank too. I think all of my big fish have pretty much came from shallow water. Something to think about. All right. So there's another answer for you about why do we cast from the boat to the shallow, and when we're fishing from the bank, we try to cast out deep. All right. Darren Pearson says because most bank fishermen are just starting off. Let me see, that's what they know out deep, because they think the fish are out there, but tournament bass fishermen know that the fish are shallow. Oh, there we go. So yeah, so as you get out there and get a little more experience, you start figuring some things out. All right, then we have Paul Gavinsky, member of the money team. Really appreciate it. He says we are real active in tournament. Let me see. We are real active in the comments because we ain't laughing at your nemesis. Excuse the spelling. Oh, okay. So normally, yeah, I see what you're saying. AKA Chicken Hawk, the Duralast angler. Yeah. So you know about his sponsor. You know about Chicken Hawk sponsorship. All right, so yeah, I do notice that whenever me and Chicken Hawk are up here going at it, you guys are kind of quiet in the chat, in the comments. I get you're kind of listening in to see what's gonna happen next. All right, then we have Brian. Brian says at Michael, just call it trolling, joking. All right. And so for people that don't know, what he is referring to is when Michael said strolling. And so strolling, let's see how I can explain this. So for the most part, for me, whenever I've started doing that, it would be where you would cast your bait out. Let's say you have a crankbait on there, because in tournaments you cannot troll and pull the bait. You have to move the bait by you can't use the motion of the boat to work the bait basically. So you can pull up to a spot, and generally people do this out in deep water. Let's say you're out there, you make a long cast with your crankbait, you open up your spool and you turn your trolling motor around, and then you just start driving away from that bait. And let's say you spool out that entire reel. So now your bait may be 100, 200, 300 yards away from the boat. And now you stop the boat, and now you engage the reel and start cranking it. So that is what generally is considered strolling. So, and I think what the way that Michael was saying it, he was saying he was doing it with a drop shot. I believe that was what you're referring to. All right, then we have Vernon Neal says academic mailbox. I'll check that fly fishing channel out. There we go. You guys making connections in there. That's another good thing about, about to me about this channel, guys, and about our live streams and the community that we are building, is that you never know who you're going to meet in the chat. And guys, when I tell you, you never know who's in the chat, there have been some people in the chat that you guys would really be interested in talking to if you know who they were. But, I kind of keep those people anonymous. They want to stay anonymous. So whenever you guys have questions about certain things, don't be hesitant about dropping your comments or your questions down in the comment section, because like I said, you never know who's watching or who may be able to help you out with any type of issues or questions that you may have. All right. And let's see. Michael says no strolling. It's shaking and slow trolling behind the boat, like the Lindy rig. Okay, I haven't heard of that one before. The Lindy rig. I'll have to check into that. Uh-oh, guys. Guess what we have? We have a new sponsor. Look at that. Paul Gavinsky. And he is the member of the Money Team, showing love to the channel. Really, really appreciate you taking the time out and blessing the channel like this, showing your support, being a member of the Money Team, and also being the sponsor of this live stream. Let me go ahead and pull up this banner and change it to Paul Gavinsky. Really, really appreciate it. So now we have Paul Gavinsky has given the largest super chat for this live stream, and he is now the live stream sponsor. So just bear with me real quick. Let me update my banner. Paul Gavinsky. All right, and he is very active on my Instagram. So I mean, he's shooting me some pictures and things like that. So he's definitely active out there getting things done on the water. Really, really appreciate it. And hold on one second. Let me make sure I get the spelling right for you. All right, there we go. There we go, guys. Check out that banner. There we go. Sponsor of the live stream, Paul Gavinsky. All right. And he's been getting some love in the comments, guys. I really appreciate you guys dropping those comments, letting him know how he can catch those fish out in 50 feet of water. And Paul, you got to come back and let us know if any of that information, if any of those tips help you out. So I just want to see what happens. And guys, let me pull this up too. So some of you guys, we also have guys that are they are moderators. So if you look and you see anyone with a wrench next to their name, those guys are moderators. And I see some little comments down here that need to be, okay, you guys are on it. We got the moderators, they're in there on it. So they already, so we'll have some inappropriate for this live stream type comments that pop in every once in a while. So those moderators will get rid of those. And they're not anything that pertains to fishing or anything like that, guys. So if it's pertaining to fishing, pretty much it's cool to drop your comments in here. They're not going to delete those. But if it's something that's inappropriate, and maybe some of you guys saw one or two of those messages. But yeah, if you see those in there, moderators, yeah, just go ahead and hop on them. And all you do is just block those users. So there's 3. And actually, let me see. All right, yeah. So you guys actually have taking out all of them. All right, yeah. So all you do is just block those users, and then we'll be good to go. All right, but one more time, give a big shout out for Paul Gavinsky, member of the Money Team. Really appreciate that, Paul. All right, then we have Michael back again. Says Lowrance was a sponsor of mine back in the early 2000s. My first units was a 520C, and the 520C was the first color and GPS. Okay, all right, good deal, good deal. So a Lowrance man. All right. Then Brian also says that, Michael, we have started precision trolling crankbaits in the winter to cover water and use side imaging to mark spots and areas. We are in 45 deep of water. All right. So yeah, you guys y'all getting serious. You said precision trolling. I hadn't heard of that one before. All right. All right. So yeah, you guys say, like I said, you guys make sure, and I did start mentioning this, but guys are in the comment section. You're meeting new people. That's another thing that is good about this community that we are building. So we do have the Patreon, we do have the members, and eventually what I will do, guys, is for the Patreon, we'll start having our own separate live streams where we get together, go over things, whether it's new information that may not be out yet. So we're the community is building, guys, and like I was saying, you guys get active in the comments, because some of you guys are actually fishing the same lakes, you live in the same areas. We've had a few guys that are in the comments that have actually been fishing the same areas, maybe even about to fish the same tournament. So you guys can link up, kind of help each other out wherever wherever you're allowed to, all that good stuff. But hey, we're building, we're growing. And like I said, guys, we hit 5,000 subs. We hit the 5,000 mark. So that was something that I was really pushing to, and the channel's growing pretty fast. So tomorrow, make sure you guys tune back in, because it will just kind of be like a celebration of the channel hitting that 5,000 sub mark, and just kind of going over some of the tournament wins, tournament losses, all that kind of stuff, and just kind of introducing you guys a little bit more to me and the things that have brought me to the point where I'm at now, as far as YouTube and as far as fishing in general. It's for tournament fishing and all that good stuff. So looking forward to that. Make sure you guys come back tomorrow night, because that is what we will be doing tomorrow. So and as always, just looking to have a little bit of fun with it. Same thing with this topic that we're talking about tonight, guys. All right. So Michael says, Brian, that's cool running a crankbait in 45 feet deep of water. I fish a lot in 45. I need to learn this. That is what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So you guys see that they're down there, they're formulating a plan. They're putting together a plan for you guys. So if you guys are getting ready to go against Michael or Brian, I mean, they might have a little something for you. All right. So Thomas says, floating crank on Carolina, strolling, it's how to do it. Effective on all fish. All right. So that Carolina rig with a crankbait, a floating crankbait, and strolling it. Yeah, I can definitely see how that would be effective, especially if you're throwing that on a long point. Something to think about, guys. Something to think about. All right, and let's see. We're almost catching up on here. So we have Joseph says, fun fishing and tournament fishing are two different things. Exactly. Once you set the rules and open the doors for competition, it is always going to be about getting any edge on the competition. All right. And so, yeah, so that right there. So I'm going to come back. I just have to try to remember this guy, because I'm moving. I'm doing a lot of things, but I want to come back to his comment, because that's what I want to address as soon as I finish these. All right. So Academic Mailbox says, Vernon, Robert in Denmark was still throwing line perpendicular to shore, shortening his line. My guess is he could lengthen and cast more parallel to the shore. That's my hunch. All right. So, hey, hope that helps somebody out right there. Appreciate that comment. And we have Joseph says, whether it's tools or time spent, competing is about actively beating the competition and beating the brakes off the competition. Huh? All right. Having fun doing this is just a bonus. There you go. There you go. So that's the way somebody see it. And the other day, I was talking to somebody and I called it, goodness, I can't remember what I called it. Was it like battle fishing, something like that I called it. But anyway, all right, so we have Paul Gavinsky. He says, yeah, I have them written down and we'll send some photos. All right, there we go. All right, sir. Sounds good. All right, and let's see. Academic Mailbox says, I see. Okay, all right. All right, Texas Nuke 2010. Texas Snoop 2010 says those guys are offshore fishing for reals. Yeah, they're fishing for real offshore. They're fishing they're talking about 45. I told you they're out there formulating a plan, guys. So they're out there getting their gear together. They're going to be out there on 45, 50 feet of water on those crankbaits, strolling, guys. I don't know if anybody's going to be ready for that. Anybody else going to team up in here and start formulating a plan? I mean, hey, we got to see what's going on with it. All right, then we have Vernon Neal looking forward to tomorrow. Hopefully I can come up on the live stream. Oh yeah, we have Vernon coming up. Yeah, because Vernon, I think you sponsored one of the live streams before too. Really appreciate the support of the channel, guys. And like I said, tomorrow, for anybody that missed it, I'm going to have my $5,000 subscriber, kind of like a little celebration. You know, it was some hard work getting to that. I've been putting in some time on the water, time on these live streams, guys. And if you look back at some of my videos, you will see, man, I was up at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning making videos for you guys sometimes before I would be heading out to my tournaments. Eyes red, tired. And now when I look back at those videos, I was like, man, I don't know how I was doing that because I was looking crazy. But tomorrow, make sure you guys show back up 8 o'clock. I'm just going to put some stuff together. And like I said, just kind of go over some things, let you guys know how, I entered the tournament industry, what brought me into tournament fishing, what got me to where I'm at now, and just kind of share all those experiences, guys. Just give you a little bit more about me and everything. And like I said, just kind of have some fun celebrating this $5,000 sub landmark that we have reached together, guys. So really appreciate your support on that. All right. Guys, look at what we have. We have Brian Hindu stepping in. He is giving a super sticker for $5. Really appreciate you supporting the channel. All of this, guys, this tournament season is coming up, and I'll talk about that tomorrow too. So I'm gonna be doing some things a little different, guys. I'm gonna step it up just a little bit. So all of this that you guys are giving to support the channel, that is what it is going to be going to, guys. So it is going to be put to good use, and that information and footage, as you see, I will continue to share that information with you guys and bring it back to you. So Brian, really appreciate you taking the time to give out the super sticker. And guys, look at who we have here. AV to the 7th power. Oh my goodness. Hey, I really appreciate you, AV. AV is a big contributor to the channel. She is always supporting, dropping in on the live streams. And guys, tomorrow I will have a clip that I will have to play for you guys with AV in it. So I mean, she gave a good shout out to me on her channel one time. I'm not going to mention it, so I just want to see, because hopefully she'll be here tomorrow during the live stream, and then I'll play that clip. But I've been showing it off to some of my friends and stuff. She was giving me a shout out to her on her channel, and it was pretty funny. It was pretty good. And also, she has another thing that she does where she imitates this Boston accent. I can't do it. I'm a little too country, guys. If I try to imitate a northern Boston accent, it just won't. I don't know what that'll sound like. But I mean, she did a good job at it. And so just make sure you guys check out her channel, AV to the 7th power. She does a lot of I guess she does like legal reviews on hot topics, and also I would say just some life coaching type things too, guys. She had a real good live stream, I believe it was last week, and that should still be up there, where it was a guy on there. He was giving some great information about investing and things like that too, guys. And as you know, fishing gets very expensive, guys. So you do want to learn about investing in some things so we can continue buying these lures and all that stuff. So some real good stuff goes on her channel, guys. AV to the 7th power. She also does some fashion stuff. So I mean, yeah, I mean, your wives can check out her channel too, but guys, you might want to check it out yourself. You might want to go ahead and check it out yourself. AV to the 7th power. Really appreciate it, and really appreciate you too, Brian, for giving that contribution to the channel. All right, and what else does AV have to say? We will be back here, MoneyBass. All right, really appreciate that. And somebody else had okay, wait a minute, and I forgot to read her comment. She said, "Beat the brakes off." Right. So I don't know if Chicken Hawk's coming up tonight, but yeah, he's kind of funny with his new sponsor that he has, Duralast. So yeah, next time he's up on here, maybe he'll be up here tomorrow, guys. So me and Chicken Hawk, we'll find something that we always disagree on. So we'll have a good time tomorrow. All right, really appreciate that, guys. All right, Joseph says our water is mostly super shallow. Have done the opposite of the Carolina rig and drug a crankbait right behind a big bobber. I hadn't heard of that one before. They think it's an aggressive little guy chasing another bait. Yeah, so that kind of reminds me of that top water bait, where you're throwing a top water and then you have another smaller one tied in front of it. And I can't remember the name of that bait right now, but I know one of you guys will drop it in the chat. But that is something to get, guys. Also, if you guys are throwing some top water baits, you want to have that little bait in the front of it. Because those bait, that will allow you to catch 2 fish at a time sometimes. So yeah, so definitely check that out. All right, and let's see who else we have. We have Thomas. Thomas says, I fish East Coast River of Virginia and North Carolina. None are 40 or 60 feet deep. I never thought bass would go that deep. Hey, a lot of people think that. But yeah, I mean, I've caught on Lake Hartwell. I caught a fish in 80 feet of water on fishing a drop shot, let it drop all the way to the bottom. The fish was about that big. It was a bass. I mean, it was a little puny thing, but I was still surprised that I was able to catch one that far down. And then let me see, I didn't miss this one, did I? All right, we will be back here, MoneyBass. All right, really, really appreciate that. You will be back tomorrow to check it out. So yeah, you guys make sure you come back tomorrow because I have some good footage and something put together for you. All right, and let me get caught back up where I was at. All right, so that footage is all right. So AV to the 7th power. She says I have to check with friends that fish off Cape Cod. They catch some good stuff. All right, yeah, definitely. But you are in Georgia right now, right? Yeah, I think you are in Georgia. But yeah, so yeah, that saltwater thing, that is a whole different animal. Those fish are very aggressive. And generally, that's what I eat is saltwater fish. I don't really eat too many freshwater fish. All right. And then we have Michael says, Thomas, I've caught bass in 100 feet on Lake. What is that? Jokacy? Man, is that a joke that we see? 100 feet of water. Come on, Michael. You caught a bass in 100 feet of water. However, you are right. This is not common in most lakes. Goodness,
yes, sir.
That is not common. I'm 100 feet. I'm going to have to look that up. Lake Jokacy. What kind of, that had to be a spot. Was that a spotted bass? Or that must have been some type of alien fish. 100 feet. Has anybody else caught a fish in 100 feet of water? Michael is the man. All right. Then we have Thomas. He says, I have never fished the wacky rig. I am really missing out. Let me see. Am I really missing out on that much? Never felt the need to try it. Remember now, 45 years of fishing, and my number one is the slider. All right. So you said you have never fished the wacky rig, and are you missing out? Yes, you're definitely missing out. Sometimes that finesse technique is what is really needed. And the thing that you may be surprised about, a wacky rig, it catches big fish. So you can catch some small fish on it too, but especially if you skip docks and throwing that wacky rig on a spinning reel, if you don't want to say skip a jig or something like that with a bait caster, the next best thing is skipping docks with a jig. I'm sorry, skipping docks with a wacky rig, because sometimes if you're you can be good at skipping with a bait casting reel, but you mess up one time, especially during the tournament, that reel is done, because you're not going to sit there for 15-20 minutes trying to work out a bird's nest and get all that line cleared out. Just not going to happen. So yeah, try that wacky rig out. And let me see, did I just search MoneyBass wacky rig? I think I have a video where I go through the whole setup and everything that I use on that. But yeah, definitely try that out. That is a technique that will get results. All right, Vernon Neal says, oh yeah, I got my spy base today. I purchased from Tackle Warehouse using your link. Uh-oh, guys. All right. Hey, I really, really appreciate that. So yeah, guys, I drop affiliate links, and I forgot to mention that too. So I do have affiliate links down in the comment section. I'm sorry, in the description. And also there is a sale going on at Tackle Warehouse where you can get gift cards now with 10% off. So if you get those gift cards now, and when they drop additional discounts, you can stack that 10% discount that you got from the gift card on the additional discounts that come up. So make sure you always check the description for discounts that I have and any links. So all of that stuff is always in the description, guys. So I'm looking out for stuff like that for you. And whenever things do come up, I dropped those in the description. And also, one of the things that I did add for you guys this evening is a link to and man, I wish I had brought it in here, but it is a booster that will, if you're out on the water and you lose power to where you need a jump to be able to get back started, and you don't have jumper cables to jump your trolling battery to your starter battery, you can use, it's a NOCO boost, and I think it's a 1000 amp booster, and it's enough to jump your boat to get it, to get your boat back running. And you can also use it has a flashlight built onto it, and it has a goodness, what is that other thing? It has ports on it where you can charge your phone and things like that. So it's basically just a battery booster, and that will definitely come in handy, guys, whenever things start getting colder. And I don't know if you guys still fish whenever it starts getting cold. I do. And sometimes, those are the months whenever your batteries may start, acting a little flaky on you. So you want to have something like that on the boat. I dropped that link down in the description too. So click on that and just take a look at it and see if it's something that will help you out. Like I said, anytime I find little things that I think may help you guys out, I always drop those in the description of the videos. So always check those. All right. And then we have Thomas says 80 and 100 feet. That is crazy. Well, yeah, you know what? I did just say 80 feet, huh? And I acted real crazy whenever Michael said 100 feet, which is, it's just a 20-foot difference. But I guess just seeing that 100 sounded wild. All right. And then he says, I caught 20 bass and 30 trout that day. Yes, spotted bass. I knew that had to be a spot sitting down there at 100 feet. All right. And then Joseph says 100 is out of the question. I chased them with their back showing. All right, there we go. So you're in that shallow water. All right, then Michael says, I was drop shotting large minnows. Okay, so that makes sense. That makes sense. All right, Greg H. All right, Greg H stepping into the live stream. What's going on? He says, lose SP. I can't wait to start practicing a bit with it. Yes, that is a good reel. And one of the reels that I got was a lose SP. So yeah, so that is a good reel. Let's see. So Thomas says, I skipped that slider like a champ. Uh-oh, man. All right, skipping a slider like a champ. I'll give you my results after I fish the wacky rig. You got me convinced. Yeah, I mean, and I'm trying to think what lake I was on where I was catching good fish. Oh, if you just watched the last Gunnersville tournament that I just fished, that was shallow water, skipping docks with it, and it was like near grass too. And that at least one of those fish that I caught in that video, that was caught on a wacky rig, and that was Lake Gunnersville. But I also use that to fill my limits sometimes. There's another video where I was fishing Lake West Point, and that video, that tournament, I was trying to win a mega bass on that tournament day. And as time kept ticking and ticking, if you go big, sometimes it's like they say, it's go big or go home. And I was about to go home because I didn't have any fish. So I threw that wacky rig on, started hitting docks and just put in work. And I came in with my 5 fish. I mean, they weren't that big, but they were keepers. But I still was able to bring in 5 fish and get my points. So that was the point of that. All right. And let's see. So there was somebody that I said I was going to go back up to. Let's see. Hold on 1 second. I just wanted to fun fishing the tournament. All right. And I think this is it right here. Joseph had said, fun fishing and tournament fishing are 2 different things. Once you set the rules and open the doors for competition, it's always going to be about getting an edge on competition. There we go, guys. So that is pretty much what we were talking about. And with the title of the video, is this really fishing? And then just looking at the new technology that came out with the active target. And with tournament fishing, guys, it is a whole different thing, because now, yes, you do have that fun aspect in it, and people find their fun in fishing in various ways. And to say that this is not fishing whenever you talk about electronics is not true. And like I said earlier, even if you look up the definition of fishing, guys, anybody can look this up. Fishing is the activity of catching fish, either for food or as a sport. So all of these different things that we're doing, guys, are in that big bubble of fishing. So you have in that bubble, you have kayak fishing, you have bass tournament fishing, you have crappie fishing, you have cat fishing, you have sailfish fishing, saltwater fish. I mean, all of it is still fishing. But when people say that's not fishing, they need to finish that statement and say, that's not how I fish, or that's not what I consider fishing. And then the next question will be, well, who are you to say how I should fish or how he should fish? Let people do what they need to do to enjoy themselves out there on the water, basically. And when you step into the tournament realm and take tournament fishing out of that big bubble and try to turn that into something that it is not, then that's probably not going to work out for you, because tournament fishing is almost like gladiator fishing. It's like you have all of your different weapons hanging on the wall. This person over here is going to choose these 3 weapons. This person over here may choose these 4 weapons or whatever, but you choose what you need to go to battle with on that tournament, and that's what you get out there to do. And the best man sometimes wins. But I mean, if you just look at it that way, yeah, the person who came up with the best plan, chose the best tools to use, is what tournament fishing is about. That style of tournament fishing. Of course, there are different styles, but if you try to go into one industry or another industry and try to change what that is, I think that's just going to be an uphill battle, versus if you see what you like and what you find enjoyment in and go and pursue that specific thing. So that's kind of how I see that. All right. And let's see. So next, what we'll do, let me just go through a few more of these comments, guys. And then what we will do next is the how would you fish it segment. And that is where I'm going to pull up some video footage, and then we're just going to kind of chit chat and talk about how we would fish that area. All right, guys. So let me see. And for that, if there's anybody that wants to come up, and we can kind of do the how would you fish it. If somebody else wants to come up on the screen, I dropped the link in the chat if somebody wants to come up. So you guys can click that link. It'll put you in the back, and then I'll pull you up, and then we will do the how would you fish it. If nobody wants to come up, you know what I mean, then I just sit up here by myself and do the how would you fish it section. All right, so let's see who else we have hopping in here. We have Josh. Josh says, hope to be back tomorrow, money. Got to get back out on Lanier together and catch some more biggins. That is right. Got to get some of those biggins. Yeah. So, I mean, you may have me going to shallow water after I saw what you did the other day. Yeah. Josh was out there. Josh was out there killing it. I mean, he had, what was it? Like 12 or 13 pounds with his 4 fish, or was it more than that? I mean, he had a pretty nice bag. All right. And then Michael says, a really good worm to wacky rig is Bass Pro Sticko. All right. The sungill color works great. All right. Yeah. And so another thing about those wacky rigs, guys. And so check this out. So I know people always talk about Randy, talk about the electronics and stuff like that, but Randy gives some good tips, guys. Randy gives some good tips. Another thing that you can do whenever you get those cheaper brands of stick baits or stick baits that you're going to throw in your wacky rig, if you rough those things up like he showed in one of those tutorials, then it kind of changes the action of those cheaper baits. So you can still get those cheaper ones if you find the color that you want. Just kind of rough them up a little bit and kind of get them a little more loose, and then those will have some good action on them also. But Michael says a really good worm to try is for a wacky rig is the Bass Pro Sticko. All right. And then Vernon Neal says weightless wacky using a bait caster is one of my favorite techniques. Woo! A weightless on a bait caster. Yeah, I mean, especially if you're throwing it, I can see doing that in grass, because I mean, I do fish grass, wacky rig, and I still throw it on a spinning reel. All right, and let's see. Joseph says, Greg, if you birdies that if you birdie that lose SP, you can cut the line and respond. Let me see, and respool it in just a minute or two. Terrific reel. Okay, yeah. So that lose SP, and I think that's the one that may be on sale for $99. I'll put a link in the description for that one too, guys. Because like I said, right now those discounts are still going on. And if you look in the description right at the top, I put a link to get those gift cards at 10% off for you guys. If anybody's interested in that's going to be purchasing anything over the holidays where they're going to be doing these sales. So you can get those gift cards and then let that next sale drop and then go ahead and use that to get a bigger discount on whatever you're going to buy. All right. And so yes, he meant to say bird's nest. All right. And then Thomas also says, thanks, Michael. I'll check it out. All right. There you go, guys. There you go. Getting some value in the chat. Getting some value in the chat. All right. Then we have Greg 8 says, thanks, Joe. Looking forward to learning a new skill for next year. No problem on the autocorrect. All right, there we go. That is how we do it, guys. Making connections and everybody's learning a little something and getting better, getting prepared for next season. All right, and let's see. So let me go ahead and share my screen. 1 second, guys. Just get caught back in here real quick. Just make sure I didn't lose anything. All right. And do we have the moderators in the chat? Let's see if you guys can hop on some of these things that are popping here in here. I just want to see how it happens on your end. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, guys. And now we're going to do the how would you fish it segment. Just bear with me real quick. Just take a second. Where's that at? All right, there we go. All right, just sharing my screen. All right, so what we are going to look at this time is, let me add that to the stream. Drop this down real quick. All right, so the how would you fish it segment. Let me do it like that real quick. All right, so the how would you fish it segment, since we've been talking about active target and the new things that have come out for it, let's just take a look at the active target screen. All right, guys, so keep in mind, I am a Humminbird guy. I use Humminbird Mega Live. Some of you guys use Lowrance Active Target. Some of you guys use Garmin. But what we do here is we're here to kind of help everybody out to get better on the water, regardless of the electronics that you have. So we're going to talk about Active Target this time. And let me just see if I can get this to play real quick. So this is directly off of their website. Let me just refresh the screen real quick. And so basically all we're doing is taking a look at the image that we have on here and letting me know how would you fish it. So we're going to look at water depth, look at the cover, the structure. Do you see any fish? Do you see brush piles, rocks? You know, what type of structure are you guys seeing? So get active down in the chat. I'm just going to bring this up so you guys can actually see it. And there we go. All right, so just kind of talking to chat. I mean, is there anyone, and also another thing, is there anyone that is in the chat that does not know how to read the live imaging screen? If you don't, just drop that in there and just put, let me see. What would you put if you don't know how to read the live? Yeah, just put, I don't know how to read it or something like that. Or I would like to know how to read the active, I'm trying to see if my mouse will show up on the screen. But yeah, if you guys don't know how to read the live imaging screens, just let me know and I can go over that in a little more detail for you guys also. Because like I said, we do go over electronics tips, tricks, tutorials, things like that. And this is just part of that for you guys. All right, so let me just get on here and take care of something real quick. All right, guys. All right, so here we go. Take a look at that screen. What do you see? What are you guys seeing on that screen? And based on what you're seeing, how would you fish that? I'm just interested in seeing what you guys think. And actually, let me do this. Let me bring in the intro for the how would you fish it the right way. All right, here we go, guys. All right, and up next is the how would you fish it segment, where I bring up an image on the screen. And this time we're going to take a look at Lowrance Active Target 2. So this has a little more enhancement to it than what you guys may have been used to. So what we're going to do is take a look at the footage. Let me know in the comments what you are seeing on the screen. Are you seeing cover? Are you seeing structure? Are you seeing fish, rocks, laydowns, brush piles? What is it that you're seeing? And also let me know how you would fish it. And then I will let you know how I would fish it. All right, so let's go ahead and bring that up on the screen. There we go, guys. Lowrance Active Target 2. What are you seeing on there? And how would you fish it? Just looking for some comments down in the comments section, and then we will go from there. All right, so I'm just looking in here, making sure I get back to my spot. and then I'll look to see what you guys are saying in here. And then I'll tell you what I see and how I would fish it. And also, once again, if anyone is in here that isn't familiar with the live imaging screen, I'll go ahead and discuss that a little bit too. All right, let's see. All right, just checking in here to see now if anyone has dropped a comment in here to see how they would fish it. What do you guys have to say? I see some funny comments going on in here. I'll get caught up on that in just a second too, guys. All right, so I'm not seeing anybody drop any comments about how they would fish it. So I'm thinking as I start explaining it, some of you guys will start chiming in and saying what you see. All right, so for me, looking at this, I see a lot of good structure and I see some cover down there, and I definitely see some fish. All right, so looking at the very top of the screen where you see that -10. Now let's go to the right of that where you see that 10-foot, 20-foot mark. Right in between that, you see a fish right there. And that fish is suspended at about 5 feet. And that water depth is about 10 to 12 feet deep right there. So for me, the way that I would fish this is I would throw a shaky head on this, guys. I would throw a shaky head or a jig. Now look at that fish right there. That is a very nice size fish. Let's just say that's a bass. Might not be a bass. I mean, that is a nice size fish, but let's just say that is a bass right there. I would definitely throw something down there like a shaky head to try to get the attention of that fish and just kind of hop it to see if that fish would follow that bait. If it doesn't take that, then I'm going to try something like a jig is what I would go to next. But yeah, that is a lot of good cover down there, a lot of good structure, and some nice fish. So when I see something like that, I know that the activity is definitely what I need. And so for you guys that may not be familiar with reading the live imaging screen, basically, if you look at that screen where you see the -10, and then right below that to the left, you see 5 feet. That area is where the boat is going to be. And then going across the top of the screen where you see the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, that is going directly out in front of the boat. And let me just pull this back up real quick. All right, so that is going directly out away from the boat. And if you come back to that top left-hand corner again and you look down where you see 5, 10, 15, 20, that area is going to be directly beneath the boat. So as you can see from what I just explained to you, that big fish is about, what is that? That actually is right under the boat. So that big fish is right under the boat. So maybe if you drop a drop shot or something like that, but really what I would do is I would back off of this wall. I would back off some and maybe go back to about 40, 30 or 40 feet away to wherever I'm casting to, that bait would fall directly where those bigger fish are at. All right, guys. So taking a look at that, that is how I would fish it. Let me look in the comments real quick and see what you guys have started saying of how you would fish this area. All right, and let's see. All right, so we have Michael chiming in. Let's see what Michael has to say. He says the fish on the ledge is under the trolling motor. Exactly. There we go. I would drop a spoon or a drop shot. All right, there we go. So, all right, so there we go. That is option number one. Person number one, drop it in. All right, so Joseph says I'd probably start with a crankbait. All right, so you kind of daring. Joseph is kind of daring. He's gonna bang that crankbait off of the bottom. And I'm assuming that you would throw something, since that is about 15 feet, you would probably throw something like a 5XD, 6XD. If you're looking at the Strike King crankbaits, something that you can get down there and bang off the rocks is what I would think. And let's see, he says, sorry, had to swap to my PC. All right. Okay, yeah. So it just took a little second, but y'all are getting active in here, getting active. And then look who we have. Look who we have checking in. We have Cajun Rob Fishing checking back in. 6XD cranking. Now, I think Cajun Rob is a crankbait fisherman. Isn't that the bait that you said you'd use on the last How Would You Fish It segment? I think so. I think it might be it. But yeah, so that's 6XD. And actually, speaking of that 6XD, I did catch, and actually, I think it is my PB. My personal best largemouth was 8 pounds, 7 ounces. And I caught that on a 6XD fishing structure just like this. I did not think about that. And what I did is I paralleled that. So I did not throw it all the way up to the shallow water. I paralleled it to where I was casting it down the line, and I kept it in water that was about 10 feet deep or so, 10 to 15 deep. and I had 10-pound line on it, and I just kind of slow cranked it and let that bang off of those rocks, and that 8.7 got it, smashed it. The bad thing about it is it happened on Friday, the day before the tournament. So all I have is a story about that one, and I have some footage of it, but that did not help me in the tournament because, as you all know, the fish was not there the next day. I'm pretty sure everybody's experienced something like that. All right. And Joseph says, yeah, but you see that that bait ball about 12 feet in front and 7 feet above him. That's what he's watching. Okay, let me see. So I saw that up there, but yeah, that might be a bit. Yeah, okay, I see it. I was thinking that was some interference on the screen because I know with Garmin and Lowrance, sometimes they have some type of feedback at the top of the screen like that. But looking at it again, it looks like it could possibly be some bait fish up there. All right, so good eye, good eye. All right, Vernon Neal says, looks like a rocky ledge. Exactly. That is what I was thinking, a rocky ledge. All right, a couple of fish sitting at about 2 to 5 feet and 15 feet, about 5 and 10 feet down. I throw a square bill or a drop shot. All right, guys. So it looks like that drop shot is kind of a popular thing. All right. And Cajun Rob Fishing says, yep. All right. Yep. So I was right on that. All right. And Joseph says, LOL. Yeah, you see. Yeah, I see it now. Yeah, I see it now. Yeah, so it looks like it could be some bait fish up there. So yeah, so he's eyeballing that, trying to make his move on it. All right, guys. All right, so yeah, so there we go. So that is how you read your live imaging screen. And in situations like this, that is pretty much what you would some different options. And let's see, we have Brian jumping in. Brian says, I would throw a 1/4 ounce NOCO rig with a Cinco wacky. Oh, he is coming in with something a little different. So who was that was talking about trying out the wacky rig? So he says, I would throw a 1/4 ounce NOCO rig with a Cinco wacky. Excellent. That is an excellent combo right there. So yeah, you can watch that wacky rig and that NOCO, but that wacky rig would have a very slow fall to it. That will give you a chance to see if those fish follow that bait and how they react to it. So that is good. So Michael agrees. Michael is hopping in and says, Brian, that is a good idea. So yeah, so that wacky rig, I mean, it will catch those big ones. I mean, that will flutter down and definitely get their attention. All right. So, all right, guys. So that was good. That was a good one. The How Would You Fish It segment. Really, really appreciate you guys tuning in and participating in that segment. All right. And the other thing, just wanted to drop this in there real quick. Make sure you guys check the description. I do have links to discounted products. And also right now, the 10% off sale is going on. That is on gift cards at Tackle Warehouse. So that link is in the description. And the other thing, anytime I find any other discounted products, that will be in the description also. Just click those links, guys. It really helps out the channel also. So always a good thing. All right, guys, really, really appreciate you checking out the How Would You Fish It segment. All right. So that was How Would You Fish It. Let me go ahead and pull up and just get caught up on some of these other comments because I saw some things in here where you guys were having a little bit of fun. All right, so let's see. So Greg H, I think I got to that one. Let me see. Hold on one second. All right, so yeah, that's where we left off at. So Greg H says, thanks, Joe. Looking forward to learning a new skill for next year. No problem on the autocorrect. So I did read that one. And here's where we were. All right, so Joseph says, Cast King. What? How do you pronounce that? Zephyr? Is that right? Is that right? $75 or their new one, $186. Woo! All right. Both are absolutely fantastic finesse reels. I use them to throw tiny, tiny crappie lures with no problems. All right, there you go, guys. Always, yeah, I mean, we're always interested in checking out some new products. All right, Cajun Rob says, "Where's the hawk at? Did he flew the coop?" Yeah, I don't know. I guess he's in hiding today. I guess he's hiding from us today. All right, Greg H says, been fishing my wacky rig on spinning rods with braid, with a fluoro leader using a longer shank hook too. For the braid to fluoro using the knot, let me see, assist 2.0 to tie the FG knot. All right, so yeah, so you're doing a lot on that one. So yeah, you have your setup down pat. Mine, the real quick setup on my wacky rig is a 20-pound high vis yellow braid, and I use and what is that? Goodness, an Alberto knot. I think it's an improved Alberto knot. I think that's what it's called. And I tie that to on my wacky rig. If I'm skipping docks, I put that on 12-pound line. For the most part, I put it on 10-pound line. But like I said, if I'm skipping docks, I'll have that on 12. And the hook that I use is a Gamakatsu hook. They're kind of expensive. They're like $9 for 3, and it has a tungsten weed guard. Has a tungsten weed guard on it. That is the wacky rig that I throw mine on. So it has kind of a wide shank hook on it, but it does have that tungsten weed guard on it. All right. Yeah, so that's it. And then I tie the hook on there with a polymer knot. All right. And then let's see. Joseph says he's laughing at Chicken Hawk. Yeah, I don't know where Chicken Hawk is at, guys. Maybe he'll be here tomorrow. All right. Then Thomas says a stick of dynamite. I can't read that newfangled stuff. Oh man. So Thomas, hopefully the info that I dropped, because I gave a brief description of it, hopefully it helped out just a little bit. All right. Then Paul Gavinsky, he is the sponsor of tonight's live stream. You see him down there on the banner, and he is also a member of the Money Team, guys. So if anybody's interested in that, make sure you hit the join button down below to get more information about it. He says, wow, that's a nice size fish. Checking out those bait fish. All right, so he's seeing those bait fish too. All right, so who said that, you were right about that. You were right about that. All right, and then Michael says the fish on the ledge is under the trolling motor. Okay, I already read these right here. So this was the how would you fish it segment. So let me just drop down past that. All right, there we go. So we have yep on that one. All right. Okay, that was Joseph that said about the bait fish. And 1 second, let me just get caught up on these comments real quick, guys. All right, there we go. Joseph said they love that slow fall. That is right. They will hit that slow fall, especially this time of year when sometimes they are finicky. So you do want to throw something like he said, that NOCO rig or that wacky rig. Very good options. All right, Thomas says that is pretty nice. I'm catching onto it. I can see why you would want to use it, but they still got to bite. I see the advantage though. There you go. That's all you need is once you start seeing into that little window and you look through that little bitty peephole and you see that wide opportunity out on the other side, I think you'll start changing your mind about using these electronics and that live imaging. Because I mean, you don't have to always use it, but to me, you do want to have the option. It depending on the situation. I mean, if you're tournament fishing and stuff like that, then yeah. I mean, even if you're fun fishing, because what it does is kind of eliminate some of that time that you may or may not have. I mean, if you don't have a lot of time to spend out on the water and you want to get out there and get straight to it and make sure that you're targeting areas where the fish are at, then that will definitely help you out. So I'm glad that did help you out, Thomas, that you're able to see what we were talking about on that live imaging. All right. And then Brian says biggins. Yep. So those were some big ones that were on that screen. I'm pretty sure that's why they used that image and that's directly off of Lowrance's website. All right. Then Thomas says, yes, you helped out. All right. That is great. All right. And then Michael says, and anyone that has that little, if you look and you see that little red logo next to the name, and I'm looking up and down here and I'm seeing a lot of people that are subscribers to the channel, guys. Really, really appreciate everyone supporting the channel. Really big thing, and I really, really appreciate it. All right, so Michael says, try the Owner Jungle hook with the metal weed guard is really good. Cabela's in Greenville, South Carolina. Can't keep them in the spring. There we go. So yeah, it's a lot of different options out there. Just check them out and see which one works best for you. All right. And Michael says, I use the 2/0 size. And I think the size I use on my wacky rig is the 1/0. I can't remember right offhand, but I think I do have a video on file. And guys, I have a large catalog of videos, tutorials with electronics, different types of gear, things like that. So just about anything that you're thinking about, any technique you're thinking about using, just type in MoneyBass and the name of that technique, and the video that I put out for it should come up. All right, and let's see. Greg H says, Michael just bought some more. Next year. All right. Not sure what you got. I guess you're talking about those hooks and things like that for the wacky rig. All right. And we have Joseph says, with live electronics, some people see the fish and try to throw at that fish. Other folks try to fish out what the fish is doing and throw to match that. Yeah. So with that, it's just, getting your groove and finding out what works best for you. All right. And let's see. All right, guys, we have been running for about 2 hours. Man, we had a good time tonight, guys. I mean, I enjoyed myself. I really appreciate everybody participating and, giving some good feedback and definitely getting active in the comments. So we had, I had some fun. What about you guys? You guys had some fun this time? All right. So Cajun Rod Fishing says, my partner was using Livescope cranking, bringing in a bass, and had another bass trying to get the 6XD out of its mouth at the same time. Hey, that's the way you want it to be, especially in a tournament situation. You want to get both of them, want to get all of them. So yeah, definitely a good thing. All right, guys. So real quick, let me just make sure that I went over everything I wanted to real quick, guys. Just bear with me just a second. All right. So I reminded you guys about tomorrow, 5,000 sub celebration, just kind of getting together, going over a few things. So we should have fun with that. And the other thing, always check the description, guys. Check the links in the description. I try to put some very important information in there. If there's any discounts, anything like that, I try to put that information in there for you also. And the merch, let me know what you guys think. Do you think the merch looks good? Do you like the logo? The options that I put down there for you. Just let me know about that. And also, anybody looking to join the money team, hit the join button down below. I'm about to go ahead and sign off, guys. Make sure you hit the join button below so that you can get some information about joining the money team. It really does show some support to the channel. And let's see, look at AV. She is still in here. Look at AV staying in the chat. She says 5K. Let's go. That's right, guys. We got 5. We got 5 on it. So yeah, really appreciate that. So in AV, so do you fish? Do you do any fishing? Or do you just do the Boston accents and stuff like that? I mean, what's going on with that? I mean, I really appreciate you coming into the channel. I mean, I try to, show a little bit of value and entertainment, even for people that aren't necessarily into tournament fishing. So we try to, cover some things in a few different, different ways that will still be exciting to people. But yeah, is there anyone in here that doesn't fish? You know what I mean? That's just checking in and, seeing what we're talking about over here. And yeah, AV, do you do any fishing? Do you do any fishing? And let me see. Somebody else dropped a comment in here. Let me make sure I read that. Let me see. Joseph said, all right, so I got that one. Then Cajun Robin said, okay, I got that one. So this is the one that I missed right here. So Vernon Neal, he was a sponsor of a live stream at one point. So really, really appreciate you always supporting the channel. And if you guys take a look, he has that little red button next to his name. So he is a subscriber. Really, really appreciate that. 2 hours is the norm now. A sign that your channel is moving on up. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. So really, really appreciate it. Yeah, man, it is a grind. It is a grind. So I really, really do appreciate this more than you guys know, because it is a grind. It's tough. I mean, and yeah. I get you. I feel you. I feel you on that one. All right, then. So AV said 5,000. Let's go. That's right. Let's go. All right. And then my opinion says I didn't even get a notification. Guys, that is the thing. So I don't know what's going on with YouTube. So yeah, I mean, make sure that just double check, make sure that you are still subscribed and hit that notification bell. So that way it will supposedly send you the notifications. And what I'll start doing is I'll put out a poll. And also I did put out a poll. Well, maybe I'll go over that tomorrow. But I put out a poll. I try to put out a few different things that should get notifications to your just send notifications to you so that you know that the live stream is going on. So I released a video a little earlier today. I put out that poll. So hopefully that algorithm, it is sending something out to you guys, so you're aware that the videos or that the live streams are going to take place. All right. So yeah, look at AV dropping the little money bags. All right. Then we have Michael says, have a good night. I'm going fishing tomorrow. Hey, I might be out there on the lake tomorrow too. We'll see. We'll see. I just need to check the weather real quick. All right. Then my opinion says I'll be here tomorrow. Really, really appreciate that. All right. And then let's see. AV says I need to learn to fish on Cape Cod this summer. Ooh, Cape Cod, yeah. So that's some saltwater fishing. Look at AV. She says, teach me. She wants to learn how to fish a little bit, guys. Make sure you guys check out AV's channel. Just search AV to the seventh power. Great content creator and a strong supporter of the channel. Really appreciate you stepping in. Does anybody have any information about Cape Cod? I'll bring that up tomorrow too. So anybody know anything about catching those fish up there in Cape Cod? We'll see if we can get some info for you, AV. All right, and then we have Joseph says Chicken Hawk. Yeah. So I'm gonna hit Chicken Hawk up and let him know that y'all were asking about him. But yeah, I guess he's hiding a little bit. But we'll see if he'll be over here tomorrow with his sponsor. So all right, so look at AV's asking about Chicken Hawk too. Look at that. I'm gonna have to tell Chicken Hawk he has some fans. All right, and then Greg H says for fluorocarbon, has anyone tried the 3 tag in knot instead of the polymer knot? No, I have not tried that. Has anybody else tried a 3 tag in knot? I have not tried that one. That just sounds like it's a beast. That sounds kind of complicated right there. 3 tag ins. But yeah, so anybody's tried that, drop a comment in there. Have to do a search on that one to see what that is. All right, Vernon Neal says you have to hit the notification button prior to the video and you'll get notified. Okay. So yeah, once you subscribe and hit that notification button, it normally pushes it out. But if you're on YouTube, then I think it does put it in your feed so that you will see it in there that there is an upcoming video. But I'll be here tomorrow at 8 o'clock, guys. All right, Joseph says I was just busting on him a little when you asked if there's anyone in here that doesn't even fish. Oh, gotcha. So yeah, so actually he does fish, but fishing and catching is 2 different things. All right. Then Joseph says, Greg, you talking about the double shindo. Man, you guys are talking about martial arts off in here. What is going on with that? A double shindo, a triple tag? I mean, what is that? Like a triple slap and a kick in the stomach or something like that? But all right, guys. Oh, so I want to give a shout out on the way out to the sponsors and the contributors to the show. I really appreciate everyone for stopping in. Had a great time. I want to give a shout out to AV to the 7th power, talking about beating the brakes off. And we have Brian dropping that $5 super sticker. And we have the member of the money team. We have Paul Gavinsky. He is the sponsor of the show. And if you look down below, you see him in the banner as the sponsor for tonight's live stream. All right, guys, let me see. Looks like I have one more comment in here. Let's see. Okay, you guys are still talking about those martial arts down there. Greg, is called the San Diego Jam Knot. Man, come on, guys. Are you making these names up? What is it? The double shindo, the triple tag, the San Diego Jam Knot. Wait a minute. What is Cajun Rob talking about? Swindle shindo. The swindle shindo knot. All right, man. You guys are knotting it up in here tonight. Joseph says, real fast knot like Tony. What is that? I don't even know how to pronounce that. I put it on everything. I guess that's some hot sauce, huh? Guessing you too, Cajun Rob. All right, the knot looks quite simple to tie. All right, and oh yeah, every time. Okay, you put it on everything every time. Actually, let me get in here and get me some hot sauce, guys. All right, the San Diego Jam Knot. It used to be the glide bait fisherman, used by the glide bait fisherman. All right, guys, had a great time. Really appreciate you guys supporting the channel. Make sure you tune back in tonight. Check out the description. Let me know what you think about the merch. Think about joining the channel. Just hit the join button just to see, just to get the info, guys. All right, I appreciate everything. Really appreciate everybody supporting the channel. I will see you guys tomorrow on the next one.